Wow. Okay, welcome to another Down the Rabbit Hole video. I hit a milestone just last week. Friday the 13th, September the 13th, 2024. I have now been on YouTube. My channel has now been going for 10 years. A decade. Whoa. I did my usual cat bloopers thing. I do that every year. And I thought, okay, now that I'm into the new decade, it's time to reflect on my last 10 years. I've been doing this now for 10 years. Wow. So I thought what I would actually do for this video is answer a question that some have asked me, especially my buddy Swifto. He has quite often, on more than one occasion, said, why did you end up calling your channel Down the Rabbit Hole anyway? So I thought, okay, as a way to mark the occasion, let's answer that question. I was actually kind of hoping to do this as my 5,000 subscriber special, but I'm still not there. I'm inching along. It might be another decade till that happens. So you know what? Come up with something different if that ever does. But I wanted to answer Swifto's question. Why is the channel called Down the Rabbit Hole anyway? If you've listened to the time he and I chatted, you already know the answer to this, so I'm sorry. Go ahead and watch something else. Let me backtrack slightly as to why I even started a YouTube channel to begin with. I was always interested, surfing the web for a lot of stuff in gaming. I was always interested that some websites would post things like, for example, classic game reviews. You know, he would be there doing his thing. I'm the Space Arcade working toward reviewing everything. And I was just like, man, that's awesome. Classic Game Room. Did I say, what did I call him? Classic Game Room. I was just like, yes, that is awesome to have somebody reviewing stuff, old games that I remember and loving as a kid. So I'd always seen YouTube around, and then on the PlayStation 3, we're talking 10 years ago, they had a YouTube app. Suddenly I could just click on a thing and start watching YouTube videos way easier. Yes, I had it on various devices, but those were not in the living room, easy to click on, something just there. And I thought, okay, well, now that I can actually watch YouTube, I'm going to subscribe to Classic Game Room and a whole bunch of others, Steve Benway, Alan Stewart, etc., Long Boys Post, and really started to enjoy it. And we still had cable television at that point, and we found that, you know what, we're watching more YouTube than we are regular television. Let's try not having cable for a while and see how that goes, and we haven't gone back. So the YouTube thing was part of my life. And of course, it's an open sort of anybody can do it platform. I thought, wonder if I would ever do a YouTube channel, because there was stuff that I was watching on television. They used to really annoy me, like, why aren't you talking about this? Why aren't you talking about that? What's going on? I've mentioned this before, there's a guy who had a video game show on Canadian cable TV, and I would watch it all the time to find out, you know, is the new Assassin's Creed game any good? Or what's happening with the next platform from Microsoft or whatever. But the thing that would kill me is that he would just go around doing the same old stuff over and over again. A lot of Batman stuff. And I was just like, come on, man. There's so many more things you could talk about. Anime. Just piles of stuff. Classic stuff. Atari stuff. Why aren't you doing that? So, little voice in my head was suddenly like, okay, Mr. Smarty Pants, why don't you do that? And at every time that I thought about that or discussed it with my wife or my friends or whatever, anytime people are like, all right, you know all this stuff, why don't you make a YouTube channel? I was just like, no. That's a lot of work. I don't know that I want to go down that rabbit hole. And then, I don't know what it was. I suddenly thought, I am watching way more YouTube than regular cable, and it was starting to pick up. It was becoming the zeitgeist that everybody was starting to follow. You didn't have people, a lot of people were cutting the cord. And I just thought, well, yeah, like if I want to have the things that I want to talk about on a screen in a way that I can enjoy and others, yeah, why don't I make my own YouTube channel? I mean, that's a dicey proposition. I'm not sure I want to go down that rabbit hole, but maybe I will. So what am I going to call my channel? Well, I mean, I've only got about a dozen ideas in my head. So I'm going to do what, 18, 20 videos at most? And I thought to myself, okay, so to kind of resonate how finite this thing is that I'm about to show you, I'm gonna call my channel, I don't know, Another Nail in the Coffin. And every time the episode ends, it's like, okay, well, there goes that topic. I don't have anything else to say. So I was going to get a little toy, wooden coffin, and I was going to hammer a nail in it so that there would be, there you go, there's another nail in the coffin. The show is almost over because I've only got a dozen ideas. Having not too long ago crossed 1,000 videos, now that I've been doing this for a decade, it's a good thing I didn't go with that idea because that thing would have been so blister packed full of nails now you wouldn't recognize it. So, yeah. And also, like, the idea of nail in the coffin, it was sort of very morbid and gross, and I thought that doesn't talk about video games or any of the other stuff I wanted to do. You see what I mean? When you go down this rabbit hole, everything starts to spiral. And just for whatever reason, the inspiration struck. I said to my wife, you know what the recurring theme is with everything I talk about when I proposed starting a YouTube channel is the phrase, down the rabbit hole. And I call it that. Because I don't want to be pigeonholed into just one thing, because I don't know what I like talking about. Sure, video games, but there's a million of them out there. And Alan Stewart himself has said, you're never going to get very far in the retro video game space. I mean, if you were in it early, great. Or if you have some wide mass appeal, perfect. But old farts like us, we're just going to be middling along with a little audience. Less than 10,000 subscribers audience. And that's fine. Cool. So I thought to myself, well, yes, I love Atari and I love video games and all that kind of stuff, but I don't want to have a channel name that locks me into that. There are some huge YouTube channels that have proven that that's wrong. I mean, there's 8-Bit Eric. He doesn't talk about 8-bit stuff all the time. There's Dreamcast Guy. He doesn't talk about Dreamcast all the time. So my logic is flawed, but I just thought to myself, okay, what's a channel name? When the name Down the Rabbit Hole first stuck to me, I was like, what's nice about that is it's wide open. I could talk about anything. I could talk about Star Wars. I could talk about D&D. I could maybe do some food videos. Like, I wasn't sure yet what I wanted to do, and I also wanted to make my channel appealing to a wide variety of folks. I'd sort of hoped that, friends and family would also subscribe and check out my stuff, and they do. I have blathered on when I talked to Alan Stewart. I was just like, yeah, none of my family ever watched my videos, and when he asked me, turns out that is not true. My sister was the first to point out, hey, I watch your stuff. Don't say that. So, and I've had various close friends make comments on some of my videos, especially my Starfingers videos. That's an example of the type of thing, like, I would not have named my channel Starfrontiers, and I know some people in the Starfrontiers crowd are like, you got to do more Starfrontiers. There's one coming. But I just didn't want to necessarily lock myself into one avenue because I have so many different interests, and I think the audience that's out there will find things that you hadn't really anticipated. I've talked about this before. I've made some big, complex, lot of work involved videos. Got a couple hundred views. I've made some quick and dirty, here's this funny thing that I saw in a movie and I thought I'd make a reference to it. Thousands of videos. So I'm just like, okay, you can't capture magic in a bottle. You can't predict when that magic is going to happen. You don't know what people are going to watch. So to aim for something or to keep hoping that this is going to go to a certain thing, forget it. I'm doing what I'm going to do because it's a fun hobby and that's the way I enjoy it. So again, I thought, Down the Rabbit Hole actually is a good capture all of my different ideas and tastes into one title that works. So here I was just saying to people, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. And then it turns out, well, actually, that's the perfect name for your channel. The only slight problem is if you just do a search on YouTube for Down the Rabbit Hole, you get a million other things than me. I've always had to recently talk to my dad, and I was saying he was interested. He was like, oh, what's that channel of yours? You just put in Down the Rabbit Hole. Well, there's all these other things. That's not you. And then add something like Atari, you'll get mine. You know, I chose poorly with the name from a unique point of view. MameMeister has got a really good, no other, if somebody's going to type that into YouTube, they're going to get to him. You know, that type of thing. So I'm happy enough with the name of the channel, and I'm happy enough with where the channel is going, and I hope to be doing this another 10 years from now. We'll see what the future holds. So I just thought I'd do that as a quick little chit-chat. I've been on YouTube for 10 years now. Whoa! And why is it called Down the Rabbit Hole? Anyway, so more videos are on their way. I hope you enjoyed this. Until next time, we'll see you down the rabbit hole.